Strong storms and winds moving through our area tonight. We want to give you a live look now outside in downtown Dayton. We saw some lightning earlier this evening over in the distance there. It looks pretty calm at the moment. Let's send things over to Natalie for an update.
Yeah, Dayton area fairly quiet with mainly just rain. You saw a little lightning there too, and that'll be the trend. But we do have some stronger storms that we're tracking, especially just off to our west, that we're keeping an eye on very closely. For right now, though, this is our strongest storm in our area, which is in southern Preble County near the Gratis area, and you can see north of Israel Township. Heavy rain, lots of lightning with that. Most of that south of Eaton at this time. Further off to the north, we do have some storms pushing their way into Mercer County as well as Darke County. These are below severe limits. I don't anticipate them to strengthen, but I will watch them closely. And then we also have now a flash flood warning that was just issued until 3 a.m. for Wayne County into Preble County due to the persistent heavy rain over these past several hours. And then just off to the west, we still have this tornado warning. This is until 11:30 p.m. This is outside of our area. We'll continue to monitor that to see if it holds together as it makes its way southeastward. Could potentially impact Wayne County, so I'll be watching that closely. Our greatest risk for severe weather will be to our southwest for the rest of this evening, so just have a way to get weather alerts through this evening, and I'll be keeping you posted on air and online.
Tonight, we're continuing our coverage of the federal investigation that swept across the Dayton area on Friday. Several law enforcement agencies served search warrants at Fuyao, Glass America, and 27 other locations.
Yeah, they say it's in relation to an ongoing criminal investigation. Tonight, Fuyao reacting to that investigation. Kasha Hancock live now from their Moraine location. What did you learn?
The statement released by Fuyao says they are not at the center of the criminal investigation, but they do plan to fully cooperate in the investigation. Started in 1987, Fuyao Glass America is now the largest auto glass plant in the world. Moraine is its first North American facility, opening in 2016 in the former General Motors plant. Now the company is dealing with the cloud of a criminal investigation.
As we speak, law enforcement is working diligently to identify victims, to provide them with services, and to gather evidence relevant to the investigation.
Last week, Fuyao Glass America, along with 27 other locations in the Dayton area, were searched as part of a criminal investigation. Some locations are homes in quiet neighborhoods.
One proceeded with a rifle into the house to go get the individual. He came out, brought him out. He was zip tied behind his back, sat on the ground, and then that's when the Homeland Security and FBI showed up.
Homeland Security says they're investigating allegations of labor exploitation, financial crimes, money laundering, and potential human smuggling violations. I spoke to Tony Talbot of the University of Dayton's Human Rights Center to break down what these allegations mean exactly.
Continuum of exploitation is the way I look at it. It could be as simple as maybe not having adequate break rooms or long enough breaks or something like that at work, to underpaying workers, to forcing them to work overtime without compensation, all the way to threats and even violence being used against the workers. And that's when it crosses the line into potentially labor trafficking.
Fuyao says they were told by authorities that a third-party employment company is the center of the investigation. The company also saying it will fully cooperate with the investigation. We'll continue to follow this ongoing investigation and bring you the latest updates on air and online at Dayton247now.com. Back to you.
Kasha, thank you. Now, the man indicted in April's quadruple deadly crash near Dayton International Airport has been arrested. 26-year-old Clayton Hughes was found at a home in New Jersey. He's currently in the Somerset County Jail waiting to be extradited. Back in Ohio, troopers say Hughes rear-ended a car on I-70, drove away. A few minutes later, he hit a van rather, at the intersection of Terminal Road and Boeing Drive. 4 passengers in that van were killed. Troopers say Hughes was speeding under the influence of alcohol at the time. The wife of one of the 4 victims is now suing him for $10 million in a wrongful death lawsuit.
A live look from the Montgomery County Jail's website now here behind me, where the man accused of killing a pregnant woman and a teen is now being held. 32-year-old Nicole Cunningham Jr. was arrested in Cleveland last week. Troopers say they tried to pull him over in a reported stolen car that was recently used in an aggravated robbery. Cunningham refused to stop and took police on a chase. They then tracked him to a wooded area after he took off on foot. Troopers found him in an abandoned home. After his arrest, police realized he had an active warrant out of Dayton for the murder of that teenager and his pregnant girlfriend, Precious Taste. He remains behind bars tonight.
The Dayton Police Department says it will conduct an administrative review tonight after this video was posted on Facebook. The video shows officers arresting someone in a parking lot as a canine runs away. Now, an officer follows the dog, hits it. In a statement, the department says the video doesn't capture the full context of that situation. DPD releasing the statement saying in part, quote, during the incident shown in the social media video, the canine officer used an open hand strike on his canine partner shortly after being bitten 3 times by the dog. We appreciate the public's concern, and the department will be conducting an administrative review to assess the incident circumstances and training to ensure the appropriate measures are taken.
We now know the name of the man killed in a crash in Marine over the weekend. 23-year-old Andres Gomez's car was found in a ditch yesterday morning between Springboro Pike and I-75 South. Police say his car hit a utility pole, suffering heavy damage on the driver's side. Gomez was pronounced dead on the scene. Another passenger was taken to the hospital but is expected to be okay. Police say alcohol could be a factor in the crash.
And another crash on I-75 under investigation. This happened this morning just before 8 near the Edwin C. Moses Boulevard exit. You can see an SUV flipped over there on its side. Now, 2 vehicles were taken away by a tow truck. Thankfully, though, no one was hurt out of this.
The Clark County Fair wrapped up over the weekend, but after a large fight broke out Friday night, it ended a little sooner than expected. Eli Burgett spoke to the Clark County Fairgrounds and has what the sheriff's office is doing next.
Well, around 8:45 p.m. on July 26th, about 75 people were involved in a large physical altercation at the Clark County Fair. We were told that the sheriff's office did intervene in order to calm the situation down, and the individuals that instigated the conflict have been taken into custody.
Everyone went home with 0 injuries, and that's what we trained for, and that's what we want. And so I'm sorry we lost an hour, but that's the way it goes.
Just over an hour before the 2024 Clark County Fair was scheduled to end, around 75 people began physically attacking each other in the middle of the fairgrounds. However, the Clark County Sheriff's Department and the Ohio State Patrol were able to quickly respond, and we now know that 4 juveniles were arrested for instigating the conflict. The Clark County Agricultural Society is very grateful to the Sheriff's Office and the State Patrol for calming the situation down and resolving the altercation. As of right now, law enforcement is still reviewing the security footage of the fight to see if there will be any additional charges brought in. Back to you.
Dayton entrepreneurs working together to create new concepts and attract more people to downtown Dayton. Tonight, the owner of a restaurant in the Oregon district held a pop-up event to give people a sneak peek of something new he's doing. So Jenny Bork joining us live. You were there. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, Adam, it was a busy night for them. Tonight was the first tasting for some of the dishes that will be on the menu of his new spot, Nude Bar. Chef Dane Chip's Noodle and Dumpling Bar is the first vendor announced to be inside of the Silos Food Hall that's set to open in the fall. Chef Dane explains why he's going with an Asian-inspired menu concept.
We just didn't have that here, so I wanted to bring that to the city. So, you know, and I've always loved cooking Asian food, so this has been like my dream.
The Silos Food Hall owners announcing who the food hall's first vendor would be last Thursday. Chef Dane Chip's new concept, Nude Bar, will be going in serving an Asian-inspired menu.
We're doing all types of noodles around Asia, bao buns and dumplings, just doing a menu that's celebrating Asian culture.
The Silos Food Hall plans to have 4 food vendors and a bar, but Ship says it's not expected to open until late September or October. So Ship gave community members a sneak peek, hosting the first tasting event on Monday night at Jouy Wine, downtown Dayton. Nude Bar will be the second business Ship owns. The Oregon district houses his first restaurant, Culture, saying he's had a journey to get this far.
Started from a tent, opened Culture last year. Culture is always my first baby, and, you know, forever grateful that I was able to open it. So it's just that stepping stone to get Nude Bar open, and then, you know, we'll see what comes after that.
The pop-up event was full of energy as people enjoyed the noodles and cocktails. Abby Brown, a longtime customer at Culture, expresses her thoughts about Chip's new venture.
His food is so amazing, and he's such a nice guy, and I'm so excited for his next adventure. Can't wait to check out the Silos and Nude Bar in the Silos. So.
Ship says he's planning to host a couple more pop-ups for Nude Bar in his restaurant, Culture. We'll have a link to Culture's Instagram page in our web story at Dayton247now.com so you can find out when those events will be happening. Back to you.
All right, Generally, thank you. Clark County High School now has a new principal. John Steckley will begin his position this fall. Brings 32 years of educational experience, with 21 of those years in administration, 11 working with students in the classroom. In a statement, he says, in part, quote, "I am proud to be part of a continuing tradition at Clark County and look forward to working with the dedicated staff, engaging with students, and connecting with our community."
Last week, you helped us stuff the bus with school supplies to help kids as they head back to school. Today, those donations were dropped off at the Cranston Classrooms facility before they get distributed to schools here in the Miami Valley. The bus delivered about 4 Gaylord boxes full of materials to the facility.
Anything writing is most important. It's consumed very quickly in the classroom, so pencils, pens, markers, crayons, anything like that, and then something to write on, so any kind of paper product would be very helpful.
If you didn't get the chance to help us stuff the bus, don't worry. To learn more on how you can still get supplies into local schools, head on over to grandstaclassrooms.org. The donation drive ends August 31st.
And speaking of back to school, supplies tax weekend, or tax-free weekend, excuse me, starts in nearly an hour. We've been talking about it in my household for days now. Ohio's sales tax holiday extended from 3 to 10 days, now running from July 30th through August 8th until 11:59 p.m. This helps families buy anything kids may need as they go back to class. Now, there is no limit on the amount of total purchase, but there are qualifications determined item to item. And to answer any questions you may have on what does and does not apply during the holiday, you can head over to the Ohio Department of Taxation's website. That's tax.ohio.gov.
Tonight, we're getting a clearer picture of law enforcement communications the day of the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. The alarming new details next.
Plus, I'm tracking more thunderstorms making their way into the Miami Valley. I'll let you know what the rest of the evening is looking like coming up. Here's a live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Here's what I know. Nobody thinks about the air conditioning.
Sponsored by McDonald's.
Former President Donald Trump has agreed to an FBI interview regarding the attempted assassination at a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania earlier this month. Kayla Gaskins joins us from Washington with a look at the latest on the investigation.
More than an hour and a half before Trump took the stage in Butler, Pennsylvania, a local counter sniper finishing his shift took notice of the shooter, texting colleagues, "He knows you guys are up there." The New York Times obtaining the messages from Senator Chuck Grassley's office. Senator Marsha Blackburn preparing to press the new acting director of the Secret Service for answers during a hearing Tuesday.
Why in heaven's name the Secret Service cleared Donald Trump to go on that stage at 6 o'clock and did not pause that event?
Here is an aerial view of the Trump rally site. You can see right here the stage Trump was standing on. The local counter sniper first spotted the gunman sitting on a picnic table at 4:26 p.m. right here. Another local counter sniper then takes photos of the gunman at 5:14 p.m. on this spot. The local snipers positioned in this building right here. Now, eventually the gunman makes his way to the roof of this building where he fires off shots at 6:11 p.m.
A local SWAT team officer telling ABC News a set in-person meeting with Secret Service snipers ahead of the rally never happened.
You had no communication with the Secret Service at all on that Saturday?
Not until after the shooting.
Members of Trump's personal Secret Service detail and top advisors say they were not informed local police were tracking a suspicious person. Over the weekend, Trump vowing to go back to holding outdoor rallies, saying the Secret Service has agreed to substantially step up their operation, adding they are very capable of doing so. As critics slam the Secret Service, Trump continues to praise the agents.
You talk about bravery. They jumped on top of me. They shielded my body. I mean, to a point that was amazing. And we have to remember that, too.
And we've also learned which lawmakers are assigned to the bipartisan task force investigating that assassination attempt. 7 Republicans, 6 Democrats. They will be on that task force, which will have subpoena power. Now, the GOP members will be Ohio Representative David Joyce, Mark Greene, Laurel Lee, Michael Waltz, Clay Higgins, Pat Fallon, and Mike Kelly as chairman. Now, the Democratic members will be Jason Crow, Lou Correa, Madeline Dean, Chrissy Houlihan, and Glenn Ivey, as well as Jared Moskowitz. Now, the final report on the task force's findings will be released in December.
In a major policy shift, President Biden is endorsing a proposal to implement significant changes to the Supreme Court. Biden laid out the plans at a ceremony celebrating the 60th anniversary of the Civil Rights Act in Texas today. He blasted the High Court for several recent controversial rulings that he says attack liberties and undermines American confidence. Biden is calling on lawmakers to establish 18-year term limits and a code of ethics for the Supreme Court, as well as a constitutional amendment to limit presidential immunity.
No one is above the law. And for all practical purposes, the court's decision almost certainly means that the president can violate their oath, flout our laws, and face no consequences.
VP Harris, the presumptive Democratic presidential nominee, endorsed the proposals today, saying they will help restore confidence in the court and strengthen democracy. Former President Trump has blasted court reform as a desperate Democratic power grab.
All right, let's give you a live look over downtown Dayton tonight from our Eco Plumbers Skycam. You see skies not quite as full of lightning right now, but it looks like a little bit of rain.
Yeah, showers moving through Montgomery County, a couple of strikes of lightning around. A lot of the stronger activity is now off to our west, and that will likely be the trend through this evening. We'll continue to monitor things, but as of right now, we have our strong storm through parts of southern Preble County right now. Now, I will say these storms are training just a bit, so I wouldn't be surprised if we could see some flooding in southern Preble County. We have a flash flood warning. I'm going to talk about that in a bit. We also have this storm that had a tornado warning earlier that has weakened as it made its way off to the east through parts of Butler County. There's that flash flood warning. This is until 3 a.m. So we are tracking the potential for some flooding through parts of Wayne County into Preble County. So do be extra careful out there. We always say turn around, don't drown, never drive onto flooded roadways. Always find a different way to go. Here's a way look at those showers right now. A couple of lightning strikes, but those have weakened. We still have this tornado warning back off into Indiana. Doesn't look like that will continue on, but I'm going to continue to monitor that too. Greatest risk for severe weather will be to our southwest for the rest of this evening. Otherwise, 70s across the board. We have an unsettled weather pattern in place through this week, and the reason why is this dome of hot air and then activity riding around this ridge. It's called a ring of fire setup. So we'll continue to see the chance for storms in the forecast over these next several days. So we got these storms across the area right now. Those will be out tomorrow, looking mainly quiet, but we'll have a chance for some storms for our day on Wednesday. I think a lot of that will stay to our southwest. And then also for our Thursday, especially in the afternoon, we'll be tracking some more showers and thunderstorms.
Tonight, 2 children are dead and 11 others hurt in a mass stabbing in England. 6 child victims and 2 adults are in critical condition. It happened at a children's dance class in a town near Liverpool. Police have arrested a 17-year-old male responsible for the attack. And while they do not know the motive, investigators say the attack is not terror-related. The adults involved were injured trying to protect the children.
The State Department won't say whether the U.S. has pressured Israel in its response to an attack in Israeli-occupied Golan Heights over the weekend. The attack killed 12 children on a soccer field. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says, quote, "Our response will come and it will be severe." The Lebanese militant group Hezbollah firmly denies it was behind the strike.
This attack was conducted by Hezbollah. It was their rocket, and it was launched from an area they control, and any assertion to the contrary would be a denial of reality.
The U.S. maintains Israel has the right to defend itself. Officials remain hopeful about a possible ceasefire deal.
Now, despite these growing tensions between Hezbollah and Israel, the U.S. says it's not currently planning to evacuate U.S. citizens from Lebanon.
We don't have any plans for or an announcement as it relates to an evacuation or efforts for private U.S. citizens from Lebanon.
But the department did issue travel advisories to the country. U.S. officials encourage people to enroll in the Smart Traveler program to get messages about the safety conditions on the ground. Coming up, a local nonprofit honoring those battling cancer. A look at a special survivor event coming up next.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Take Dayton 24/7 Now News with you.
Sun Complete Home Improvement.
The city of Inglewood has announced the passing of one of their council members. Adrienne Draper has died at the age of 26. Draper pursued her interest in public service by running for Inglewood City Council in 2019. She won that election at the age of 21, making her the youngest female official elected in Montgomery.